What's up, guys? This is Adi again from Gate 7 International, and this is the home stretch. Boys and girls, there's one game left in Olympiacos' season, the biggest stage and the most important game of Olympiacos' history, our first European final appearance ever. Now, today, I'm going to be taking a closer look at our competition over in the city of Florence, or as they like to call themselves, I Viola, or the Violets. But before we talk about Fiorentina and some pre-match, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're viewing this video. Plenty of individuals are all over the world that follow the red and white. It's our job to find them. Every engagement helps the algorithm connect us with more red and white fans. Take a quick second, hit that like button, subscribe if you like the content that you see here, and help us make the largest red and white community possible. You can also check us out on Patreon. Patrons get early access to the scouting reports, whether it's on players or instances like this. For $1 a month, you can join and be part of the WhatsApp group where we get into a whole mess of arguments, and it has really just taken on a life of its own. But we also do share information that we do not share on social media. Information we get about players, stats, you name it. It goes there. They get the first look at everything and they get early looks at stuff as well. So join the Patreon community, consider supporting us and helping us continue to make this a better experience for everyone. Now let's jump back into the analysis. We're going to start with some background. Fiorentina ended the season in 8th place in Serie A, which was enough to secure them Conference League football again for next year. Now, like Olympiacos, they have also had quite an up and down season so far in the league. The results have been all over the place, despite ranking really well in various categories. Offensively, they're just outside of the top sides when it comes to opportunity creation and goals scored. Now, while they are impressively efficient in converting chances on target, they're also materializing high volumes of opportunities inside the penalty area compared to their opposition in Serie A. They command the second highest possession share in Italy while maintaining a relatively low match tempo compared to their opponents. Now, match tempo, remember, guys, is a measure of passes per pure minute of possession. So, a low match tempo is an indication sometimes of more direct play when the number of passes is low because long passes take up more time. Therefore, more long passes means you have less passes per minute. It also can be a sign of higher ball carrying amongst individual players on the team because obviously, if you're carrying the ball and not passing it, you can eat up time when it comes to that pure minute of possession calculation. Now, on the defensive side of things, 7th overall in goals allowed, just above mid table in terms of pedigree. And this represents an overperformance compared to where you see their expected goals allowed, their XGA at, which is quite high. While the team on a whole has not conceded many goals, they do seem to have a knack for conceding quality opportunities to their opponents. And it is something that has led to their inconsistencies. And we're going to evaluate that. So while we do see an irregular number of quality chances conceded, they do allow the least shot opportunities against in Serie A. Their defense is also top 5 in terms of the percentage of shots that they block before getting to the keeper. It's a very clear indication that opponents maybe get a handful of clear opportunities if they're lucky, and you have to capitalize as there won't be any of them. Major kicker here, which is very important for us, Fiorentina's pressing intensity, which they have the highest pressing intensity in Italy. And this will be the first time that as a team, especially in Europe, that we're going to face a press that's intense as what we have been putting on the field, especially in these last few matches. So it's a very interesting proposition for us early on. Formations. When it comes to formations, Fiorentina's coach, Vincenzo Italiano, usually goes between a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1, or a 4-4-2. Now, since the knockouts have started, he has used 4-2-3-1 in just about every match except for the second leg against Club Brugge. Regardless of what formation is used, there will be various shapes, all that are going to coalesce, especially when building up out of the back. Fiorentina's center back, Martinez Cuarta, is very comfortable getting forward and breaking out of that back four. So don't be surprised if you see instances where they go from a back four to a back three, or he joins the midfield unit. Additionally, when Ghanaian defensive midfielder Alfred Duncan is on the field, he will act in an Ibora-esque fashion as a pivot right in front of the defense. He can slot back, make a back three in that respect, like three center backs, various ways that this can appear. Now in Conference League, we only saw this occur usually in the later stages of the match. If they got an early lead or began to cede possession. Usually they started with Artur as that deeper lying center back or center mid, and he was acting more or less as a playmaker. So if they got an early lead, they would start to cede some possession, but they would introduce that more defensive midfielder. Moving forward, it's not entirely uncommon to see a midfield diamond that is buoyed by a set of very advanced fullbacks that have no problem getting forward. So the takeaway in all of this is whatever formation you see that the Violas use, it will evolve. The shape will evolve and change during the course of the match. Like previous coach Carlos Corberan, they have different shapes that will materialize depending on the phase of the game that they're in and what they're hoping to accomplish. As far as their buildup goes, and as we covered in the background, Fiorentina is more than capable of dominating possession, even against Italian sides. In Conference League, they've usually been the team on the ball the most, averaging about 62% possession overall in the competition. Their buildup out of the back is very impressive. Quick to stretch the field with their fullbacks. Their center back, Cuarta, will move in an advanced position and also help create outlets, which is the intention seems to be to draw players out of the pressing line. So usually it can create a gap in the midfield that Fiorentina can exploit, whether it's up the middle or down the wing. The exact context of this can create huge problems for Olympiacos, as we've seen when our press traps fail and our players are a little too high up the pitch. The midfield it can get sucked in, and this creates a lot of problems for us. Now, the diamond that Fiorentina can form in the midfield, it's very efficient and very effective in penetrating the final third and the penalty area. Center backs often have to make a choice between trailing Nzola, the striker, or positioning themselves to cover their fullbacks when the midfield is advancing with the ball. There is an opportunity, though. While Club Bruges, when they were playing against them, didn't effectively manage this, when they were able to successfully cut off the midfield link to the defense, it forced Fiorentina into long balls. And that sense of panic seemed to pervade pretty quickly through Fiorentina, and then pressure would continue to mount, which then led to opportunities. In Serie A, I saw a match against Napoli, and Napoli was a team that pressed very high as well. And they had the most intense press, the only press that was higher than Fiorentina. And they forced Fiorentina to routinely kick long balls down the field. And it was effective. They completely disrupted the match for Fiorentina in many respects. So this will be the key. The key for us is not necessarily relying on the press traps, but it's going to be disrupting the possession game and severing the link of the buildup out of the back, severing the link between the defense and the midfield. If we can do that, we can have some success against Fiorentina. Now, in open play, Fiorentina, as you can see on the chart here, heavily favor their left side. Attacks by their fullback, Cristiano Biraghi, who's got 3 goals and 6 assists on the season, or by their winger Kwame, who's supported by Artur and Linka. While there's no discernible difference in terms of opportunity quality, which is measured by XG per shot, you can see the average XG per shot members across every third of play, we'll say. So there wasn't really much of a discernible difference in opportunity quality in the Conference League for Fiorentina. Whether they overwhelmingly targeted the left side, as you can see over there, but relative opportunity quality was almost the same across any side that they went to. They targeted the left the most, they targeted their right the least. Maybe that means we get a little bit of reprieve from our starting left back, which odds are will probably end up being Keeney again. We'll see, depending on how Omar Richards gets along. He played against Panathinaikos in the Derby, and or if Ortega comes back. But we'll see what happens. But from the looks of it, Fiorentina will not be targeting that left side as often as our right side, where Rodinei will be. Their highest quality opportunities came slightly ahead through the middle. And usually the big opportunities came if Inzola was able to break away from the center back or off of set pieces. Non-penalty goals in this respect came from the same two situations. They were either crosses from the flank, usually the left, into a target man. The ball would be worked into the top part of the penalty box between the penalty marker and the edge of the penalty box, and they would get goals that way. But some of the deeper context was that Fiorentina were relentless with rebounds and second balls. So maybe the initial shot opportunity started out there, but man, they get bodies in the box and they are going for these second and third balls. And we have seen time and time again our defense get exposed in these contexts where the ball is switched, a fullback gets sucked in, and it leaves a wide open opportunity, or a rebound comes and somebody wasn't following their man, and then a goal comes there. We know that our defenders, Retzos and Ortega in particular, are not great at tracking their men for this end ball. So this is an area of particular concern for me heading into the final. I foresee plenty of contexts where we eat a goal in this exact scenario because of how our defense fails to track its runners. Now let's talk about some defensive shape. In the Fiorentina background, I alluded to a high intensity press and a team that allows the least shots against in Italy. Fiorentina also plays with a high line. I don't see a deliberate attempt at creating pressing traps like we do under Mendilibar, but it is a very organized pressing line. And organized in that you'll see first person is pressing the player. Then there's usually somebody running for the wide player to ensure that there's pressure there as well. So people will move in unison in that respect. So they do a very good job of congesting the area just to apply pressure and hope to make for somebody to make a mistake. Now, if the deeper player is Artur, which it's more than likely to be, there will be vulnerabilities up the middle via the long ball, or if a ball can bypass the front line and go into a deeper section of the midfield. If the deeper mid is the defensive mid Duncan, the Ghanaian midfielder, you will see an extra line of defense ahead of the back line, similar to how Ibora operates. The difference is, of course, Duncan is a bit faster. And so part of what makes this team so difficult to get opportunities against is that they're just able to get bodies in the penalty area. Just like I said on the offensive side of things, they do the same thing on the defensive side of things. They are great at just getting people back and getting bodies in the penalty area to make it so difficult for somebody to win a header or to get something. They clog things up very well. And that explains why they allow the fewest opportunities against, but why they have such a high proportion of blocked shots. If you are able to get to them before they can get numbers into the box, that's where your opportunities are. But if they get numbers behind the box, there was almost never a shot I saw when they could get 4 or 5 guys in the box before a shot was ripped. In Europe, they have conceded goals off of long balls and multiple situations where the forward was able to be played through the center backs, especially in stride. Doesn't happen very often, but if a long ball can catch the forwards in stride, the center backs get caught on their heels very easily. Other situations that they conceded goals in involved getting the ball down the right flank, playing it across the top of the penalty area, and if somebody rips a shot similar to the Horta shot against the goals he had against Aik, specifically that first one, a lot of context there for them to concede goals. So I saw their goalkeeper let quite a few of those from distance, and it is an option for us, and we do have players that can take those shots. Now, overall, defensively, this is a very strong side. As I mentioned earlier, there are weaknesses, especially to the long ball, by the highly elevated backline. Additionally, Artur is not an incredible defensive asset and can get exposed. So it'll be a very difficult situation for us, especially if the game plan will require us to build up out of the back and if our press or counter press fails against theirs. Look, guys, analysis aside, the outlook for this match, I'm not going to lie, I'm worried. I'm not worried for the same reason that I was worried about Fenerbahce or Aston Villa or even Maccabi Tel Aviv uh, regarding the curse that we had against Israeli teams. I am worried over a completely different slate of reasons. First, forget about the analysis a second. Let's talk about going into this match. We're not facing a team that will necessarily believe we're a farmer's team, if you know what I'm talking about. They are a smaller side, small city in a big league. They're playing very well in it, don't get me wrong, or as well, better than I would expect at least. In Conference League, they've been a dominant force in just about every match they've played. They haven't lost a match in Conference League either. I don't see us giving a gut punch to this team like we served against Fenerbahce, Aston Villa, or Maccabi Tel Aviv second leg. All of those teams in those contexts, Maccabi Tel Aviv in the second leg, and then Fenerbahce and Aston Villa in general, were looking past us in both legs. This side has more humility, this Fiorentina side. I doubt they will treat us as farmers. And this worries me because we've seen what happens in formats where we're the big fish, if you will. And teams play us like we're the big fish. Look in the Super League playoffs. We've been disappointed, even under Mendilibar, in some of these matches where we're the favorite. We should be winning, whether they're derbies or not. Sure, I'll give Mendilibar that he's rotated in these cases, in many of these cases, I should say. But the results still stand when our starters come in, and the result is disappointing. So that context concerns me. Second, since dropping down to the Conference League, we have not faced a team that has had a press that's been, especially in certain intervals, as intense as ours. Aston Villa was overall a more intense press than ours, but when ours was an interval before we took the lead, man, they didn't touch us. We've been the ones pressing out of the gate, making our presence known in these match, delivering what I have been calling this gut punch by catching people off guard. The problem with this matchup is that Fiorentina is going to do the exact same thing to us. They also have quality buildup, or better than ours at the very least, a couple levels beyond us. So if their press and their counter press are able to disrupt our defensive rhythm, our pressing scheme, then our game plan is just ruined. Our primary action plan, whether you guys like it or not, and I've talked about this on the show, I've talked about this when Mendilibar first came. Our primary strategy is offense by defense. That's how it is, and it makes sense given the little time that Mendilibar has had here. So if they are able to disrupt our pressing scheme and our counter press, of course, if they can get through that, our game plan is wiped. Our only saving grace will be the long ball because that's really one of the only things that you can really catch them in. So that's the second thing that worries me. The third thing, El Kabi's is El Kabi's ridiculous efficiency. Now, some of you are saying, why does that worry you? The efficiency part doesn't worry me. What worries me is that I don't believe it's likely to repeat itself. Look at how he was held to nothing in Greece this week in the 3 playoff games. Chances will be at a premium against Fiorentina, and their defense is on a different tier of difficulty compared to good teams like Ike. And Ike, let's just take that game. Sure, we won 2-0, but El Kabi was handled very well by Ike. So if Ike doesn't have many issues keeping Ayub El Kabi in check, then Fiorentina, I'd imagine it will have a plan for Ayoub El-Kabi. Look, I was ecstatic when he scored his goals, all 5 of them, against Aston Villa, but that level of production is entirely unsustainable. It would be wrong of us to expect him to do that again at Fiorentina. If he does by some miracle, great, but I do not see that as the case. I don't think lightning will strike twice in that regard. Now, look, guys, I'm not here to put a damper on everyone's spirits. This club has made it to its first ever European final win or European final. Win or lose, that's something. Or as we like to say down here, it's not nothing. We secured European competition for the 100th year anniversary, so that pressure point is off our backs. Sure, a lot cooler if we do our 100-year anniversary in Europa League, but at least we are in Europe. So the pressure of having to win so that we're not out of Europe for our 100-year anniversary, that is gone. And that's a huge burden to lift off of our shoulder. This team has made a believer out of me. So I'm never counting them out. Now, I don't see Mendilibar changing anything. I mean, hell, he changed nothing against Fenerbahce. He changed nothing against Aston Villa. Why is he going to stop now? Why would he start changing things if he hasn't done it at this point? If the players continue to play like they did against Aston Villa, like they did against Fenerbahce, and like they did in the second leg of Maccabi Tel Aviv, we can get the job done. I don't care whether it's the inconsistent Fiorentina showing up or the ruthlessly efficient one. I'm backing our boys, and I'm incredibly excited for this match, one way or another. Whatever happens, I'm proud of this team. Whatever happens, I'm proud of them. Overcoming the adversity, the the 2.5 seasons for a handful of those players of the football that we've seen, the decay of the football at this club since the last season of Pedro Martins, where we still won a title, but the football was just awful. I'm proud of them. And I'm one way or another, whatever happens on that field, I will continue to be proud and I'll continue to be excited for what comes next for the coming season. I hope you guys enjoyed the scouting report and at the very least found it informative. So a lot more stuff's going to come out. You guys may have noticed that I didn't really touch on a lot of individual players outside of a couple. There will be individual player analysis. We're always going to share some graphics and some insight about certain players that we deem to be key players or danger players, threat level with threat level. So I will continue to share those. There's going to be deeper analysis in that. And then the graphics that you saw with some of the data here, the rankings for various aspects that they have, that Fiorentina is in Italy, the chart of open play attack pattern, all of that will be posted on social media. So you'll be able to see that with plus I'll go into a little bit deeper descriptions about certain things so that you understand it. I'll probably do something with average formation lines. And we also will be having individuals from fan clubs, or I should say from various shows covering Fiorentina or Italian football to kind of give us some deeper insights about culture, locker room, things like that. So plenty of analysis will be coming throughout the course of the week, and we're excited to bring that to you. So thank you guys again for listening. This is Adi from Gate 7 International, by the fans for the fans, and we will see you